Who can resist the aroma of fresh fries? Diners love the crispy crunch that comes only from the total immersion of the potato strips in a lake of hot golden oil. And at a popular outlet like this in Petaling Jaya, the fried favorites keep coming out of the kitchen. The perfect fry. It's crispy outside and moist inside. It's because of the high temperature that seals the outside while it locks in the moisture inside. But it's also the high temperature that breaks down the oil with each successive frying. The oil is no longer fit for cooking when it remains dark even after filtering. And the stale odor and greasiness remain attached to the food even when you block out the excess oil. You know it's time to discard the oil. The entire 10-liter canister has to be emptied out for the new oil. Most fried food restaurants average about 2 oil rotations a week, depending on what has been cooked in the oil.
In terms of economic benefit, environmental and social benefit, the best solution available today is to convert it to biodiesel. Due to lack of legislation and governance, we don't see a big stream of this waste material going towards biodiesel because it's going into the unethical industry of food. The best way known at the moment globally is for it to be converted to a fuel instead of it going down drains and polluting the environment or into food where it affects communities.
It's the disposal of the waste oil that makes deep frying one of the most ecologically unfriendly ways to cook. You can't just pour the oil down the drain because oil causes clogged pipes and sludge builds up in its grease trap, and tossing it into the bin may result in more cleanup afterwards. The common solution is to sell the oil to recyclers who turn it into soap or candle. But the more environmental solution is to convert it into biodiesel.
When the biodiesel is burnt in an engine, there is about 60% less carbon emissions in comparison to diesel. And the reason for that is because vegetable oils don't have any hydrocarbons in it compared to petrodiesel. And the emissions produced from used cooking oil does not have a byproduct like sulfur or nitrogen oxide. They are much less compared to diesel.
This truck makes its rounds to several eateries in the Klang Valley to collect used oil and bring them to Fat Hopes Energy's processing plant in Petaling Jaya. Used cooking oil is transformed into biodiesel through a process called transesterification. It involves reacting the triglycerides in the grease with methanol to result in biodiesel and glycerine.
The used cooking oil comes in and it looks like this. It will be first filtered and heated. The filtration process is to take out all the sediments, and the heating process is to eradicate all the moisture. After the used cooking oil has been pre-treated, it's then transesterified, and after it's transesterified, the glycerine will separate from the biodiesel as you see in this with the glycerine at the bottom. After it's separated, we extract the glycerine from the bottom of the batch, and the biodiesel is then washed, where we use a resin and water, and it's clean and it looks like this. It will then be converted to this, and because we use water in the process, after it's polished, it then needs to be heated one more time before it can be packaged into our typical packaging where we sell as additives. The used cooking oil comes into our factory and it's all consolidated here from all the outlets. And once we determine the weight, we then move the used cooking oil onto that tank over there where is our heating facility. It sits in this tank for about 2.5 hours. After the used cooking oil has been pre-treated and the water has been evaporated, it then moves into this first tank and is then reheated to get a consistent temperature of 65 degrees. And methanol as well as potassium, which is the catalyst, is put into this smaller vessel. Once all of the catalyst is in this tank, it takes about 2.5 hours for the reaction to occur. We'll see biodiesel on the top and glycerine at the bottom, as we saw in the beaker just now. The glycerine is then drained from the bottom of the tank, and the biodiesel is transferred to the last tank over there before it goes through the polishing and filtration step. The pre-processed biodiesel comes out of that tank through this column over here and goes up into our storage facility on my right. And after the biodiesel has been polished, it's then ready to be put into a vehicle.
Biodiesel can be fed directly into the diesel engines or mixed with petrol diesel as an additive. Fathopes is able to produce about 300 tons of biodiesel a month. One of its biggest contracts is with a fast food factory. Despite the obvious benefits in recycling oil into fuel, Fathopes is facing competition from recyclers who clean up the used oil and resell it to unsuspecting customers as fresh cooking oil.
A significant amount of used cooking oil is redirected into food for the maximization of profit. And what is happening now is due to the food prices going higher and higher, used cooking oil prices in the market are increasing significantly. And due to this problem, the availability of feedstock for biodiesel processing is on the decline.
Because diesel sells for 1 ringgit 80 cent a litre, Fathopes can only pay oil collectors up to 1 ringgit. But other recyclers are willing to pay more for the used oil because of the better resale price of cooking oil. Besides restaurants, Fathopes also collect fryer oil from other sources. With people becoming more aware, Fathopes has gotten homeowners to recycle their used oil. They currently pick up the oil directly, but they can also arrange to place collection drums at condominiums or housing estates.
If any corporation or individual wants to be responsible for their waste and ensure that it's disposed of properly, the best solution is to give us a call and we can pick that used cooking oil up. Depending on the volume they produce monthly, we will offer them a price. Unfortunately, it will not be as high as other companies because we are limited by our sale price. So the best thing for them to do is to accumulate a significant volume, and if they speak to us or log on to our website, they will be able to see what our collection schedules are.
Turning used cooking oil into biodiesel addresses two issues. One is the creation of an alternative source of fuel, and second, making sure the oil waste is dealt with properly so that it does not cause any health or environmental risk. Restaurants can either look at their used fry oil as an expense that they have to pay to have it removed, or as an opportunity to bring green into their business model. Turning waste oil into biodiesel not only makes environmental sense, it's a solution that goes down the pump, not down the drain.